Ravinia Kavefi, a 20-years of age, a student at UNAM doing a Bachelor of Arts, majoring in psychology. I grew up in a small town, Enana, was raised in a village by my mom's older sister. Until the age of 11, I moved to Kratwanen in Ochuchujumba region at the age of 12, where I started my grade 6 at Leipadava Primary School, completed until grade 7, and I moved to Oshivanda Secondary School, where I completed my grade 12 in the year 2020. I'm doing Bachelor of Arts in Clinical Psychology. Well, my dream has always been I wanted to do paramedics, but due to the incident of 2020 when my arm was amputated, I could not go ahead with it anymore since I'm no longer physically fit for it. So I chose psychology, which is more on counseling, helping others as I would love to, and also to understand myself better due to the situation I went through. This whole amputated stuff, it came as a shock because I was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma in the year 2019 around June. I think June, if I'm to be exact, is June the 20th. And after that, I've been on treatment on chemotherapy. There was progress, but I had to stop. I did all my 6 sessions and I had to stop after that to wait for my operation for the tumor to be removed. But it took some time. There were papers that had to be done. Since it could not be done in Namibia, it was going to be done in SA, Cape Town. When we went there, the main aim was to do a bone replacement. And the shock, when we went there, the doctor did an MRI scan on it to see how huge is the tumor, and to our surprise, it grew very big to the extent that they could not do a bone replacement anymore. It was growing towards the arm humerus. So all that could have been done is either, I was given 2 options, either to go for radiotherapy or for the arm to be updated, and I went for the second option since I felt more like it would be more safer and it would be over and done with. Yeah, and as it was in 2020, Feb the 14th, at that time I think I was 19 years old. It was a heavy burden on both me and my family. But as time passed by, I felt like it was more heavy on my family than it was on me. I didn't really take it. Okay, I was really emotionally depressed to the extent last year, around somewhere in April, I attempted suicide, but all thanks to the Almighty, I survived it. So like, it started in 2019 when I was sick, and that like in 2019, that was the year I was supposed to complete my grade 12, and I had to put everything on hold. So I had to write my grade 12 exams in 2020. I had to take like a gap year. So in 2020 now, early at the beginning of the year, that's the time I had to go for the bone replacement, which didn't take part. It ended up the arm being updated. So it was heavy on me to the extent my grades completely dropped. And like at school, it felt so weird. You'll be passing by people and they'll be like, oh, there's a girl with one arm. You'll be passing in town and they'll be like, oh, that's a girl I heard she has one arm, from Oshivanda with one arm, like people from different schools. And yeah, my mom also started like being a bit strict with me about going out. I had to stay indoor. And I'm a bit of an outgoing person. I like to hang with my friends, and my mom had to like limit my going. She'll be like, and there are times where like wearing off-shoulder dresses or shirts, and then you get someone coming to pull it up. They're like, oh no, cover up your scar, it's not good. And I'm just like, it's just a scar. Or you get people recommending you like, why don't you buy bio oil for your scar to remove the scar? Or there's this other product that removes scars. Don't you want to try it out? And I'm like, no, it's fine. I love my scar. It has a story to tell. With the course I'm studying, I got to learn that we react different to pain. There are people that use displacement as a trying to put your emotions on someone else. But okay, with now becoming an amputee at such a tender age, or I will say where I'm more like having to thrive in my career and my school life at that age, it's something hard to deal with and hard to pull. Okay, depression is one thing that is very hard to pull out, and most of us coming from black families, parents hardly believe in that, like the depression part. As long as you show them that you are happy, they feel like yes, you are well, you are fine. But depression is something within. You'll be around people smiling, and then there are just time you get into your place and the thoughts are just like overpowering you and all that. But the best thing, okay, for me, one wrong thing I did is that I refused to talk to anyone about it. Like, even when the doctor referred me to a psychologist, I told, instead of me talking to the psychologist, I ended up telling the psychologist, no, I'm not the one that really needs help. I'm fine with it. It's like I've seen it coming, so maybe my family is the one that needs it more than I do, like my parents. So from there, okay, until now, the suicidal part where I nearly committed suicide, that's when like my mom begged me to sign up now to a psychologist, but still only attended 2 sessions and then I pulled out. So, okay, you don't really heal. You don't, to be honest, you don't. You will still be thinking about that. The thoughts still come. Let me say you go in a shop and there is this really dress that you want or a certain shirt, and then you look at it and you're like, I could have looked better in it if I had all my arms. Since your whole life you have, until at my 19 years, that's when I lost the arm. I'll be like, I could have looked better in this if I had my 2 arms. Or I want to do a certain hairstyle, and I'll be like, so now I need to ask someone for help to tie my hair or something. Or you'll be, it's mostly triggered by stuff that you could do and now you need people's help. That's, I think, what triggers most of the disabled people that got disabled at the older age or young age. That's what triggers the depressions a lot. I've been keeping my story till today. This is the first day like I'm telling people what really caused my amputation. There are people I told it was a car accident. There are those I told no, I just fell and then the arm started paining. While on my chemo medication, I remember there was a psychologist that came to talk to us, but I felt like the way she approached me made me distance myself from psychologists, because she just came in. At that time, I was still like trying to accept the thing that I have cancer and all that. And then she just comes in and then she goes like, oh, I'm looking for a patient by the name Ravinia. And I'm like, yes, that's me. Then she's like, oh, I heard you have cancer and whatnot. Okay, her approach was not really professional. She went on like, oh, by the look of things, the type of cancer you have, your arm might be removed. At that point, it was my first session of chemo. So it was not yet decided whether the arm will be removed or it's not going to heal or something. And then she just comes on. And from there, I'm like, no, I can't do psychologist anymore. So I only attended 1 session prior my amputation. And then that was it. And for going there, I think the reason why the doctor didn't recommend prior surgery is because it was a good thing that was going to happen, like a bone replacement. They will remove the one that was damaged and then we'll still have the arm. And then things switched up when we went to the hospital in Cape Town. I can't go for like a whole monthly shopping alone. I need someone like to put some certain stuff, like they carry bags to carry them and all that. But most of the things, they are not really affected. Like I can go wherever I want myself alone. But yeah, it's only when it comes to carrying heavy stuff, since I think the sky is still healing, so I can't really carry heavy stuff and all that. It puts a lot of pressure and then it causes pain. But otherwise, my daily life hasn't really been affected that much. I'm adjusting, I would say. With upper part updated disability, I would say most facilities in Namibia, they do accommodate them, but lower limb adaptation, I feel like they are disadvantaged at most buildings. Like most buildings require stairs or elevators that are there, they are mostly out of service, like for people that use wheelchairs, or they don't really go all over the places, only certain places. So it's a bit, I feel like they are a bit disadvantaged. But for us with upper amputation or disability, I think we are not really that much of a disadvantage. With my social life, I think it went down. My self-esteem went so low. But okay, I get people that are like, no, I feel like now you have a higher self-esteem than it was before. But to myself, I feel like it's low. Because now I'll be walking on campus and I feel like, or just in town, and I feel like everyone is just staring at me. They are like, oh, there is that girl with one arm, there is what. And going out, not really. Okay, I don't know if this one has to do with the amputation part, or it's just as I'm growing and then I'm more of my own space person now. I love my own space. I'm more active on social media than I am in person. Like I'll have a whole good combo with someone through the phone, and then as soon as we meet face to face, I can be quiet for like even 1 hour. I don't mind. I'll be quiet. I feel like people tend to ask disabled people personal questions more than they will do with any other normal person. My first day on campus, I met a certain group, like we are all first year doing bachelors of arts in psychology. I'm like, okay, cool, let's hang. And then I've been there like for an hour and I'm like, well, they really accept and I'm a potato. And I went like, no guys, I have an online lesson. I'm going to sit somewhere, it's a bit loud here, so I'm going to sit somewhere quiet to attend my lesson. And that wasn't even true. I just wanted to go sit somewhere alone. I would come in campus and then I would sit behind this other block, I think it's the admin block. I'll sit there alone. And if someone comes sit next to the bench where I'm sitting, I stand up and go look for another place where I would sit alone. We normally get people that are like, no, depression. People are now faking depression. That's what, okay, since depression cases are going so high now, everyone thinks like, no, you guys are now, even if you are broke or you are what, you say it as depression. I feel like as soon as you feel like you are depressed or you are just sad for no reason, you are just down, your spirit is just down, seek help, the sooner the better. And yeah, it will avoid a lot of complications and problems. I feel, and I also like I feel like in Namibia we have less, how do I say this, like there's few books, or is it books, or like just information about certain topics on disabilities that people really need to know. So maybe if just we put them out there, or we just create a certain page or just something, I feel like it will really help a lot of people. There are a lot of people that are disabled. Okay, like for me, the first day after I just like, after my amputation, when I could like now wake up and all that, the first thing I went is on YouTube to try and search for videos like how to do what with one arm. And there's less of those videos, or even just on internet, you just searching like that, there is no such content. So maybe for those that are really willing to just have the patient to, and not me, of course, maybe just for them to try and create certain content, it will really help a lot of people. It will.
My name is Modesto Simon. I'm a resident of Windhoek. I'm 33 years of age. I'm physically disabled. I'm a wheelchair user. I was born in Windhoek, Katutura Hospital. I grew up at Katutura Complex. And lately, or currently, I do live in Akana location. I'm an upcoming Paralympic paracyclist, and I'm also a graphic designer, upcoming businessman. I became disabled in 2006 when I was shot in a spinal cord. I was shot by robbers. The time I got shot, I was 17 years old. I'm using a wheelchair for 16 years now. I started from grade 1 to grade 7. I attended at Namibia Primary School. And my grade 8 to grade 9, I attended in Nardab region at SLEP Junior Primary School, Pioneer Junior Primary School, and currently I'm improving. I'm at NAMCOL. I'm improving my grade 11. Yeah, what motivated me to go to school is like, yes, we are facing a lot of challenges. One would like to be employed, and it's required that you have to have a grade 10 or a grade 12 certificate. So through that you can do it. So I'm encouraging the next person who is also living with disability or the young dropouts that education is very important. It will change somebody's life. So I'm just encouraging that through NAMCOL or through education, you can do it in life. So I went through a lot of the rehabilitation. So I can do a lot by myself without getting an assistance from each and everybody. Things that I can't do, it really affects me. I always like feel bad. If there is nobody next to me that can help me, I can call somebody and maybe ask for assistance or pay that the same person to help me do it. I do wash my clothes a lot by myself, and like when I would like to hang my blankets, so I would like somebody to help me. With regards to my social life, I think there is no problem, because I'm just normal. It's only that I maybe can't walk, but I'm just normal, just like all men. It changed my life a lot, because I didn't enjoy my childhood, and so at least I have experienced a lot. Like, actually there are people that are quadriplegic and I'm a paraplegic, so I can at least use my both hands, and it's quite a challenge. When I started using a wheelchair, I even received some words and funny names, just things just to piss you off, but with them you just have to get used to, because it's normal. So not all buildings are wheelchair friendly. Some of them are not wheelchair friendly, only some. Yeah, I think we have to have access to each and every building. Yeah, let me say most of the shops and banks, yeah, they are wheelchair accessible, so I really don't think there's a problem with it. I do get information from Disability Center at Okuriangawa, DRC. So we also attend meetings sometimes, or sometimes workshops. Yeah, sometimes we do apply for employment, because there's adverts in the newspapers. But at the end of the day, you apply, but they said people with disability are also encouraged to apply, but at the end of the day, we do not get employed. So it's quite a big challenge. So I get to know everything from the meetings I used to attend at DRC, which stands for Disability Resources Center. Through those meetings, I managed to improve my educational background, because currently I'm in grade 11. Cycling makes me happy. We are going to participate in the north with other paracyclists from the northern part of Namibia. And through that, we also are gaining some experience or getting fit preparing for the next Olympics. Yeah, my advice to people living with disabilities is that don't just be at home. At least go around and find some information, because like me, since I got disabled, I was just home and I never knew that I will do anything in life. Like currently, I'm also here cycling. As you can see, I'm on this bike, and I'm also studying. So disability is not inability. It does not mean that you can't do anything. It's not the end of the life. You can still do something.
I'm Pelgrina Ndumba. I'm from the Kavango East region. So when I was born, my eyesight was perfectly fine. But when I turned 5, one night I went to bed with my parents, and when I woke up, it's all I couldn't see anymore. So my parents didn't know now what to do with a blind child. They didn't know that children with visual impairment could also go to school. So as a result, I had to start my grade 1 at the age of 12. I can only see a little bit, maybe 3% with the left eye. I think this was a positive impact on my life, because then I was able to stay away from wrong things like drinking, sleeping around, because my friends that I stayed with when I was growing up, or my age mates, mostly ended up not completing their grade 12, or just ended up in the street, basically. So for me, I think it is really something good because it kept me away from wrong things. From grade 1 to 10, I was at a school for learners with visual impairment in Commercedal, and that was really good because then our teachers at that school knew how to educate or how to teach learners with visual impairment, because we were few in the class. I think in our class we were always 9 or 10 from grade 1 to 10. So we could get the right and needed attention. They could explain to us things when we didn't understand. But from grade 12 to 11, because of the introduction of the inclusive education policy, we had to go to a mainstream school called Ventok Technical High School. So there things were a bit tough because teachers didn't know how to teach learners with visual impairment. And as I earlier said, that I started my grade 1 at the age of 12. So in grade 11, I was old, because in grade 11, if I had to start my school at the age of 7, in grade 11, I was supposed to be, I think, 17. But now I was 20-something years old in grade 11. So my fellow learners without a visual impairment would make fun of us. Like, we are sitting with our aunties in the same class. We are sitting with our mothers in the same class because of my visual impairment that made me to start school at a late stage. So it was really a bit challenging. So as a result, I really didn't get good points in grade 12. So I had to go back again to the same school because by then NAMCOL could not cater for us. So I had to go back to the school to redo my grade 12 again. When you are someone with a disability in general, people will really not value your work. They will not see your worth. All that they will see is your disability, instead of seeing instead of them seeing what this person can do. All they see is your disability. Even if you can do something productive, all that they will see is just your disability. It's only a few people that will see the ability of someone with a disability. I think we have to get away from that. I think what was challenging is only when people really don't see what you are trying to do. All they see is the wrong things in you. They don't see the good things in you. All they see is just the wrong things. I think the good thing about my family is that we are only born two, and my sibling is a boy. So my mother would let you do everything because simply because my other sibling was a boy. And Kavangos have this thing that there are certain things that boys cannot do and can only be done by girls. I think that is what made my mother to make me do every chore at home. But then, which is also good, because it resulted in me being independent, because we have people with disabilities that cannot do anything at all, and it's not good because we cannot depend on people our whole lives. We have to stand up and do something for ourselves. So I'm a graduate from the University of Namibia. I have an honors degree in adult education and community development. So after my graduation, I was just doing internships. I did my first internship at the Ministry of Gender Equality in Rundu. The second internship, I did it at the National Disability Council of Namibia. It is in Windhoek West. And then in 2019, I was fortunate to work for the Electoral Commission of Namibia for 6 months. It's just good, and it's a lot. Like the experience you get there within a year compared to other jobs can be an experience that one can maybe acquire within 3 or 4 years, because they will really do a lot of work, a lot of different things. And what I like about the job is that it has to do with improving access to services for persons with disabilities, and that is what I always wanted to do. And the unfortunate part is that my contract is coming to an end in July. Okay, yeah, it was on social media, I think on Facebook, and I had a lot of people, like a lot of friends that knew that I was looking for a job, and whoever came across this post, they would always send it to me. Some send it in picture format, but then at least some of them send it to me in Microsoft Word, because in picture there was no way I was going to be able to read it, but at least some of them send it to me in Word, and I was able to read the one that was in Word. They send it to me on WhatsApp. Like our cell phones, everything that is in Word, with the speech software that helps us to use our phones, it reads without any difficulty. I think there are some opportunities that I have missed out on, because some of the vacancies would just be advertised maybe in picture format, and in that way there's no way I can read it, because then I'll have to depend on somebody to read it for me, and it's not always that you have someone that can assist you. And sometimes they are just advertised on social media. Sometimes we don't have the means to access the information advertised on social media. And then sometimes you apply, but then when they see someone with a disability, there's just no way they'll consider you. They have this thing that persons with disabilities are not productive, or you will be required to buy more equipments, because like I remember somebody was asking me, so if we have to employ you, then that means we will have to buy different computers. But it's not actually having to buy different computers, it's just getting a speech software. I'm not this person that likes going out. I like my space. I'm always indoors. I would like to have a family, but with a husband that is marriage material, and somebody that will accept me for who I am and not for what I have, because most persons with disabilities are in abusive relationships, and I do not want that to happen to me, and that is why I'm still not married until today. Like when it comes to voting, the voter machine have numbers in braille, so they will just tell you, like, if you want to vote for this certain party, you press this number. Yeah, but then I don't think the numbers are sufficient, because what if I also don't want those people that are working at the polling stations to know who I'm voting for? It must be confidential. Like for me, I just think they must just write down the political parties for me now to feel, not the numbers. When it comes to accessing information for persons with visual impairment, the government is trying, but it have to do more. But I think it is also because of the type of country we are, with limited resources, because I'm sure they want to do a lot, but because of the limited resources, they cannot do as much as they want. When you have to go to places like hospitals or for shopping, I normally go with somebody, because there's just no way I can go alone, because sometimes the building might have stairs, and I cannot just move around alone. I can only move around alone at the place that I'm used to, like here or at work, because I'm used to those places. I can go there. I can move around myself, but places like hospitals and and town, there's no way I can go alone because I'm not used to the environment. And yeah, more have to be done in terms of making infrastructure accessible for persons with disabilities, especially for wheelchair users, because you find some places with stairs and there's no way a wheelchair can go on stairs. Yeah, like at the Windhoek Technical High School, it was accessible for persons with visual impairment, but it would not be accessible for wheelchair users, or it should be partially accessible for those who use the scratches, because we had classes upstairs and we had to use stairs and there were no elevators. So when it comes to schools, I think it is just an exception of the accessibility of the buildings. I think what have to be done more is for the teachers to know how to educate persons with disabilities, because sometimes you find these people failing not because they are supposed to fail, but because the teachers do not know how to teach them, and it's not good. That's why I really suggest that if it's possible, we have teachers with disabilities that are not employed. Why don't they employ teachers with disabilities at those schools or institutions? And there will even be role models now for students with disabilities to study hard. So my word of encouragement to parents and relatives of those with disabilities is for them not to keep their families with disabilities or children with disabilities at home, but let them go out there to do something for themselves, because as a person with a disability, we also want to do something, and what we want to do have to come from us ourselves and not our parents or whoever deciding for us. And to my fellow persons with disabilities, every criticism, please try to respond to it in a positive manner and not in a negative manner, because if you respond to it in a negative manner, you will never go anywhere. You will just be down there, because to be honest, there is no one in this world that is not criticized. Even those without disabilities are criticized. So what about us with disabilities, us that are different from others? We have to be criticized. There is no way we can run away from it. All we have to do is just respond to it in a positive manner. Here I am. I was criticized as well, but I learned to ignore those criticisms. That's why I am where I am today. Criticism will be there, but please ignore it. Yeah.